Hello, good afternoon everyone. I'm Yamini Bhatt and today I'll be presenting on my proposed research on Mediterranean lifestyle for South Asian women, acceptability and challenges. Next slide please. So, beginning with, what is Mediterranean lifestyle? The Mediterranean lifestyle or MedLife is a holistic way of living that goes just beyond diet or physical activity. It is based upon the traditional practices of countries bordering the Mediterranean Sea and is well established in literature for its protective effects against cardiovascular diseases. So, coming to the components of Mediterranean lifestyle or MedLife, I will be using MedLife term throughout my presentation for Mediterranean lifestyle. So, the first one is Mediterranean diet that emphasizes plant-based diet and which is moderate, which has a moderate consumption of dairy and fish and poultry and minimal consumption of red meat and limited alcohol intake. Second comes the physical activity that accounts for at least 30 minutes of physical activity per day. Then comes the sleep factor, sleep or adequate rest that accounts for at least 6 to 8 hours of sleep per day. Then the last one is conviviality, and there is a strong focus on this, which means social connections, making connections and having a community-based life, as we all are learning about everything here today about the community-based life. So it's about sharing meals with family and friends, having taking part in collective sports, and in all having a community-based life. So, why am I talking about Mediterranean lifestyle? So here is some background on this. Cardiovascular diseases, as we all know, is the leading cause of mortality globally, and it's the second leading cause of mortality in Canada. It has led to 16% of total deaths worldwide and 17.7% of death in Canada in 2023. Now when we talk about the global perspective, so globally ethnic minority groups especially, they experience a high burden of cardiovascular diseases. So South Asians, as we all know, they represent the largest visible minority in Canada. They have proportionately high rates of cardiovascular diseases, both due to biological and the lifestyle factors. Biological factors include central obesity, insulin resistance, and genetic predispositions, while the lifestyle changes post-migration could lead to other acculturation stressors, sedentary lifestyle, that ultimately leads to high burden of cardiovascular diseases among this group. Next slide. So when we talk about women-specific risk factors for cardiovascular diseases, women actually face additional cardiovascular risk factors, including pregnancy-related conditions, for example, preeclampsia, gestational diabetes, hormonal conditions such as polycystic ovarian syndrome, and early life reproductive events, for example, early menarche, early menopause, and earlier age at the time of first birth. Also, adverse reproductive outcomes such as miscarriage, stillbirth, and hysterectomy also leads to increased burden among women. Now talking specifically about the South Asian women in Canada, so there are a study that proves that South Asian women have low levels of physical activity as compared to other ethnic minorities here and as compared to their white counterparts. That could be due to the cultural and structural barriers that they face, and apart from that, adding to that, there is the gender stereotyping and bias in the healthcare and lack of guideline-directed CVD care for them. So basically, the cardiovascular guidelines that are being made are not gender-specific; they are for all, despite having a high burden of a high cardiovascular risk for the women. Next slide. Now, what is the need of a culturally tailored cardiovascular risk prevention strategy? As I discussed, despite the high CVT risk of cardiovascular diseases among women. There is a lack of, or I could say a limited research on culturally relevant prevention strategies tailored to this group. Lifestyle interventions, they could be called as a cornerstone of CVTs. And one such approach could be Mediterranean lifestyle, as I discussed earlier. However, before introducing any such intervention or any changes in lifestyle, we have to know that whether it will be acceptable to that population and whether it will fit to the participants' values, their routines, and whether the benefits of that intervention will be perceived by them or not. So for South Asian women particularly, adopting midlife could be challenging. That could be due to the deeply ingrained cultural practices, their food preferences, and the social structures. Acculturation stressors that adds complexity, and when they blend the traditional diets with the Western influences, it is difficult to change the lifestyle or the diet. Now this study aims to explore how acceptable midlife approach is to South Asian immigrant women in Canada, identifying both the perceived benefits and the cultural barriers that could inform the adaptations for future health interventions. Now what could be the nature of a culturally tailored midlife intervention for South Asian women looks like? Mediterranean Lifestyle Index was developed by Santosh Prieto et al. And which consisted of 3 blocks. The first block was focused on the food consumption. The second one consisted of the dietary habits, and the third one addresses the physical activity, rest, and social engagement factors. Now later, a South Asian Mediterranean style diet was developed by Rai et al. These are the tools developed to assess the adherence of Mediterranean lifestyle among the participants. So for this intervention, the essence of both these tools would be combined, and the South Asian Mediterranean style diet, or SAM diet, would be the one in which will include all the culturally relevant food items from the South Asians. Just they have to modify or increase or decrease the frequency of the food items that they take, and rest of the components will remain the same. Now, coming to the study objectives. The objectives of the study are to assess the acceptability of Mediterranean lifestyle as a preventive approach for cardiovascular diseases among South Asian immigrant women, and examine how their health beliefs, particularly perceived risk of cardiovascular diseases, could influence the adoption of Mediterranean lifestyle, and explore the cultural and social factors that shape the acceptability and perceived feasibility of this lifestyle. So the conceptual framework guiding this research would be based upon 2 models. First one is theoretical framework of acceptability, and the second one will be the health belief model. So theoretical framework of acceptability, or TFA, it offers a structured approach to explore acceptability, which is essential when studying how a population perceives and interacts with an intervention or change in the lifestyle behavior. And so for context of this study, TFA in help assessing whether this lifestyle is acceptable to the South Asian immigrant women, and why or why not. Then second comes the health belief model. So as per health belief model, individuals are most likely to take preventive actions if they believe they are at risk, if they think that the condition is serious. For example, if they think that cardiovascular diseases are serious to them and the action is effective, that is, taking a lifestyle intervention will be effective for that action as action, and benefits outweigh the barrier. That is, the benefits to take on that lifestyle intervention will outweigh the barriers that they face for adapting. So the integration of TFA, so the integration of both of these models will help address both the acceptability and the specific health-related beliefs that influence the acceptability of the midlife on South Asian immigrant women. Now I will quickly go through the constructs of both TFA and HBM. TFA consists of 7 constructs. First one is effective attitude, that what are the emotional responses towards the intervention of the participants. Second is the burden or the effort that they have to make to accept that. Third one is ethicality, that whether it fits with their personal beliefs or not. Then the intervention coherence, whether they are able to understand the components of the intervention or not. The opportunity costs, what they have to give up to take up this intervention, the perceived effectiveness, and the self-efficacy, that how confident they are in accepting that behavior. The health belief models includes perceived susceptibility, that how susceptible they think they are to cardiovascular diseases, how severe they think the effect of cardiovascular diseases could be, what are the perceived benefits, perceived barriers, cues to action. Cues to action means anything that trigger their actions. For example, a doctor's advice, a social media post, or anything. And self-efficacy, that how confident they are that accepting this, adopting this lifestyle would help in combating the cardiovascular risk. So quickly I will go through the methodological overview for this study that I've planned. So it will be a cross-sectional convergent mixed methods design. The data will be collected, both the qualitative and quantitative data will be collected at the same time and then analyzed separately and then interpreted at the end. And the participants would be South Asian immigrant women, 18 years or above, that are residing in Canada. And data collection will take part as qualitative and quantitative. The qualitative parts will include semi-structural interview, while the quantitative data collection will include the TFA and the health belief related to CBD scales. Now quickly coming up to the significance and implications of this research. So this research will help to address a critical gap in cardiovascular disease prevention research among the underrepresented population, specifically South Asian immigrant women. For the healthcare providers, it will help to raise the awareness among them about the cultural barriers or motivators that would influence their lifestyle changes. It would promote sustainable behavior change because it will be considering their acceptability, their beliefs, and their experiences, and how could this intervention could be modified according to that. And the healthcare educators and the practitioners can use it as an insight to promote Mediterranean lifestyle or other lifestyle changes in a way that could be felt accessible and relevant to South Asian immigrant women.